So first lab I'll be starting with, which is implementing an IoT hub. To do that, go to Azure portal by using the link portal.azure.com. So you can go to the Azure portal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create an IoT hub. Now to create an IoT hub, we can go to create a resource here or 3 lines in top left corner and choose create a resource. So your IoT hub, it is of category of Internet of Things. So normally if you see in your create a resource menu under this Internet of Things, if you check it out here, you can see the first one, IoT hub. IoT hub. So create a resource, create a resource, Internet of Things, and the first one, IoT hub, you can get into. Now I'll go with this following subscription, which is Visual Studio Enterprise 1. For you, it could be like Azure free trial. Now resource group, I'll choose create new button to create a new resource group. Name it as, let's say IoT underscore RG, IoT resource group, and I click OK. Let's say region, I'll go with East US as an example. Normally we use this IoT hub in a data center region where your Azure services are supposed to receive the data. That's where we use it. So for IoT hub, you should give a unique name. Let's say I'll give it, um, let's name it like this. Something like, let's say Azure IoT hub and some number, some random number. So it should show you a green tick like this, indicating that this is a valid name. Now others you can leave it. Those are like various settings we have for setting up whether it's accessible from internet or not. Whereas in management, you can choose pricing tier and all these. So like if you see currently in management, we have this S1 pricing tier where they are giving you 400K messages per day with a cost of 1801 INR a month, which is a monthly cost. And moreover, these are something which I don't want to go in depth for now. Let's keep it in basic. So just give these details and click on review plus create. And this will create IoT hub for you. Wait for that. Now the validation is passed. As I discussed with you, the moment you click the create button, a REST API call of all the settings you made in here now will be made into the Azure Resource Manager, which is a framework of Azure. And you can see these automation options. I'm showing it once more. It's showing you the script, the JSON script that defines the complete configuration you made now. It defines in the JSON. So the practical factor, this JSON will be made as a REST API call to your platform of Azure Resource Manager. Now click the create button, and clicking the create button will now create the IoT hub, so you can wait for that to get completed. Will the trial account be charged for building and keeping IoT hub? No, you can do that server. So typically, whatever you create now, there is no charge for you. You will be getting deducted only from the credits of 150 US dollars or whatever you have got. Only from that it gets debited. So you don't have to worry that you will be charged from your subscription or anything. So let's wait for this. The following thing is getting created now. So this is my deployment which has succeeded. This one. So I'll click this go to resource button, and this takes you to your IoT hub, or go to 3 lines in top left corner, resource groups, and in the resource group you can see IoT underscore RG that I created. In this resource group I can find out my IoT hub which we created now. See IoT hub that I have. Now, in this one, in the left side, you can find out. So you have the options in here, like plenty of options for management. We'll keep that aside. We'll just go directly to an option called IoT devices in the left side. So any IoT device you want to register or you have registered, you can find under this IoT devices option. So what we'll do, for a sample scenario, we will register a device here. We'll just register a device of our own. It's typically an option. We'll use this new option here to create a device connection. So I'll click new. So device ID, it's a unique ID which you should give within your particular component of IoT Hub. I'll just give it my IoT device, or let's say my Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi is typically an IoT device, so I gave something like this. Now, whatever other details, you can skip it. For now, we can skip it. On clicking save, you can see now you're creating a device, typically an IoT device that is registering with your IoT platform. See, my Raspberry Pi whose status is enabled. And now if I click this device, I can see the details about the device. In a scenario here, it's just a device ID you generated. With this device ID, whichever we have now, we can considerably take this as a connection string for connecting any IoT device with this IoT hub. So typically, your Raspberry Pi will be a tool, a physical device that you will have somewhere. Like I said, in the washing machine, it could be where washing machine is going to send the data to IoT hub. Now, to make your Raspberry Pi to send the data to IoT hub is where you registered your Raspberry Pi name in here, and whatever the connection string you got in here now, these connection string must be given in your Raspberry Pi application that is written, which is going to run in your Raspberry Pi. You can imagine like this. So whatever the registration we made in here is just a logical registration with IoT hub to send the data. Now whatever I have in here in this place, the simulator, this is the physical device of you. And now to make this physical device to send the telemetrical data that it collects in here to IoT hub, you need this registration done. And whatever the registration you make, to make sure that this Raspberry Pi will understand that it must send the data to this particular IoT hub, that is where you will take the connection string which we will find in here. Let's say the primary connection string, for example. I will use this one. So what I will do, in the given code line 15, you can see connection string you have. They're giving something called hostname equal to some value, some random value. We will replace that with our connection string value of our IoT hub. So let's say this is still loading. Let me just open it. So you can see now the primary connection string I have. I'll copy this value. I'll just click this I to show you. See, host name equal to my IoT device, device ID, my particular name, and shared access key is the key for connection. So I can click this to copy the entire value. I'll go back there. Now consider, imagine like this, the application that you're developing in your computer, which will be fed into this IoT device. In that application, imagine that you're giving the connection string of the device which you registered in your cloud platform. So this one, this particular thing. So let's say I'll remove this particular thing. We'll paste it here, which means now you're specifying that you're going to send your data that is going to be collected by this Raspberry device from here, from these sensors, to the following IoT hub which we created in the cloud platform. So to make it clear, a Raspberry Pi is a physical device which is available somewhere, but you're making the Raspberry Pi to understand that whatever the data it collects now, it should send to this IoT hub, which will act as a broker to take all the data that the device sends to cloud and it will feed to some other services in cloud for analytics or anything. So that's where you should understand the point. Now see, there is a run button. If suppose I click the run button, the program we have in here will start working for us. See now, every time the data being sent, this LED blinks in here, and you can see sending message ID 3, ID as Raspberry Pi web client, temperature has some value, and humidity has some value. It's continuing to send. Every time this one is blinking in here, which means every second once, there is a message that is being sent to my Raspberry Pi. So 13 messages I've sent so far, every second once. Which means, in a simple word, you made a registration done, and that's because your Raspberry Pi will now send the data to this IoT hub. See, you can now see in the overview, I'll show you the data. Message used today, 5 messages out of 400k messages a month of quota is used. And here, these graphs will change in some time, where total IoT devices connected, device to cloud messages, or let's say number of messages used, all these it will appear. It will say it will take some time, but literally each and every message that is being sent, you can track in here. This number will vary in some time. See, 36 messages have been sent so far. So 36 messages, which means here you can see 42. So it's been sending and those are being received in here. So every second a message you are getting. So in a simple word, if I go to my metrics, I can see this clearly. See now, basically whatever I'm getting now, the messages or anything that's coming in here, every metrics you can see from here, just trying to give some information. So totally 3.1 KB of message is used by IoT Hub, which is sent so far, the data. And as I said now, your IoT device, whichever you registered now, it's constantly getting the data that comes from here. Well, do you understand this concept first, everyone? The concept of an IoT hub combined with any IoT device, like a Raspberry Pi as an example. Any questions from anyone until this? Well, that was clear, I believe. Now let me take you through the next demo. Implementing Azure